Hello everyone and welcome back to another video or episode on the High Scores Podcast. I'm your host, Sage McSwain. And today's episode will be about the playoff predictions, my playoff predictions, which is going to be sadly the last predictions video that I'm going to have out until the next NFL season. So unfortunately, this will be the last predictions video until the season resumes. But we're in the playoffs. There, 14 teams trying to make it to the playoffs. We got the Titans, the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Raiders, Patriots, and Steelers on the AFC side. And then on the NFC side, we have the Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dallas Cowboys, Los Angeles Rams, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, and Philadelphia Eagles. Now these teams, they've worked their way up to get here to the playoffs where they are right now. And let's start off the episode and let's get right into my predictions. Now getting started into the AFC bracket, we have the Bengals versus the Las Vegas Raiders, or Cincinnati Bengals versus Las Vegas Raiders, and I think this is going to be a pretty good matchup. I have it within one possession, so I definitely think it's going to be close, but, the Bengals, last year, they did absolutely terrible. I think they had, the 5th pick this year in the draft. Obviously getting Joe Burrow 2 years ago in the draft, it looked like, he was going to lead them to a really good record. And then unfortunately that ACL injury in Washington definitely did not help. Also just the pressures and the offensive line just was not doing good at all. Joe Burrow's first year there in Cincinnati, and that's what led to that ACL injury. And then everybody expected them coming into this season. They didn't draft an offensive lineman, so we were expecting the same thing as the previous season. Oh, Joe Burrow's gonna get sacked, and they drafted Jamar Chase. Like, how are you gonna throw to wide receiver if you have no offensive lineman? But the Bengals this year proved everybody wrong with that. Jamar Chase looks like he's on pace to most likely be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't even think that's up for question. I think by far he's going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Joe Burrow had a good year. I think he's what everybody expected him to be the first year, and he was doing exactly what he's doing now in his first year. Just he didn't have any weapons, and now this year he has a weapon in Jamar Chase. He has some weapons in T. Higgins and Ozoma there. So I think overall the Bengals team is really good. They're really young. And they're able to produce through the air and on the ground. Obviously, Joe Mixon, one of the best running backs in the league right now, is on the team. So right now, it just looks really good for the Bengals. They're still young, and they still have a lot of time. And to make it in their first year, or basically their second year of rebuilding, is absolutely incredible by Cincinnati. They didn't really change much on the defense. They had Jesse Bates. He's done well for them, and this season they're just doing their thing. Joe Burrow is also known as Joe Shiesty, bro. He was going off, and then Jamar Chase, he's coming out of that same LSU program that had Justin Jefferson. So we kind of expected something really good from him, especially since he didn't go in as the same draft as Justin Jefferson and decided to stay at LSU for the last year, but then he ended up sitting out his senior year due to COVID. So, he came in, everybody was expecting really good things from him, but I think the bar was set pretty low because he did sit out his senior year, but he came out and showed everybody that, he's still a good wide receiver. And Jamar Chase really did his thing this year, definitely Offensive Rookie of the Year. And the Bengals, I think, really deserve a spot in the playoffs this year. Now going into the Las Vegas Raiders. Now the Raiders, had a lot of controversy surrounding them. The Raiders, they lose their head coach midway through the season by about week 5, I think. So that's a really big hit for a team. Then they lose Henry Ruggs, who's a pretty big piece in the offense, week 8, and they were on a 2-game losing streak. They had Bisaccia at head coach and just didn't look that good, but they started winning some games, some important games. They couldn't beat the Chiefs this year. They got swept by the Chiefs. They lost pretty early on in the season to the Chargers. They did good against the Broncos this season. Swept them, I believe, 2-0. But that last game, to go to the playoffs, that was just an incredible game to watch. The Raiders, they did their thing, even though they had a lead and it looked like it was gonna be good, and then they kind of allowed the Chargers to come back. I believe they had a 15-point lead with about 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which is a lot of time, but still, they just weren't able to chew the clock down. They weren't able to do that in the fourth quarter. Chargers tie it up. They go into overtime, and it was a great overtime. The Raiders get the ball overtime. They try to get downfield, and then they kick a field goal. So then now it's the Chargers' turn. Chargers come downfield, almost score a touchdown a few times, and then they have to kick a field goal. Now the Raiders, they're trying to chew the clock down, and then we have this, hypothetical, possibly a theory about how the Raiders might have actually accepted a tie here if the Chargers hadn't called a timeout with about a minute left, I want to say. And apparently that's what changed, the entire game plan. They were going to kneel, call it a night. Chargers go to the playoffs, Raiders go to the playoffs. But Raiders, they got that timeout. They were able to rest, see what they were going to do, and then, Josh Jacobs goes on that 10-yard run. I believe they call a timeout, and then Dan Carlson goes out there and scores a field goal. So really great play by the Raiders this entire season, especially losing their head coach midway. I think that's really big praise for them. Shows, the character that they have on that team. And I think, they definitely deserve a spot here. I think every team in the playoffs deserves a spot. And, I think they kind of underperformed, from expectations from many other people. They were expecting, really great things from the Raiders. They kind of underperformed. But I think I'm satisfied with the season as a partial Raiders fan. I'm partially satisfied with the season. I was only expecting 9 wins. They got 10 wins. Even though it was a 17-game season, but they still got 10 wins, and it's pretty interesting. They did lose some ones that were really important, especially against the Chiefs. But definitely good production out of the Raiders this season. Now, going into this game, Raiders, going to be the Raiders at the Bengals. So obviously Bengals get a home field advantage, which is going to be really hard to go up against that Houday Nation. So the Raiders, I think they're going to be able to have a decent rushing attack against the Bengals, but the Bengals has a high-powered defensive line, and the Raiders' offensive line isn't the best after losing Rodney Hudson and company. They just haven't really been doing the best with protecting Derek Carr. So I think that Bengals' defensive line is going to be a big problem. They're going to be trying to force the ball out of the pocket as much as possible, and the Bengals have a really good secondary as well with them. Jesse Bates, who's their head defensive player, that safety, he's really good. And the Bengals just are able to work cohesively, I think, as a group, and they're able to make some plays, with against really high-powered offensive lines as well. So, the Bengals defense is really good. I think they can get something going. I think the Raiders could get something going with Josh Jacobs. I think it's definitely going to be hard with the Bengals defensive line, but I think the Raiders could run the ball a couple times, maybe utilize some, man-to-man defense, use your fast receivers like Hunter Renfrow, to get some stuff. They're definitely going to have to use Darren Waller as a blocker more than a receiver this game, definitely, because they have the receiving talent already. Just use that Zay Jones, Bryan Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, and then just have Darren Waller block for the majority of the game, because you're gonna need those chips at the beginning of the routes. You're gonna need some extra personnel to block, for Josh Jacobs if they're running the ball. So, I think the Raiders' offensive game plan is going to be trying to protect Derek Carr as much as possible, trying to get the run game going early, and try to take advantage of the man-on-man, the one-on-ones that you're going to have against the Bengals defense. Now, for the Bengals offensive game plan, I think the Raiders, I think, are a significantly weaker defense than the Bengals defense. So, we saw that Desmond Trufant and Casey Hayward, they were two big players on that defense who really helped them. Defensive line is missing a key piece in Phylon, who went down, and it seems like he tore his ACL, so it doesn't look like he's going to be back for the playoffs. And the Raiders just have not the best defense from what I've been seeing. They try to do man-on-man, and their corners are not fast enough to get there. If the Bengals are able to use those outside routes with as fast a receiver as Jamar Chase, they're definitely going to have him open all game. I think you're just going to have to utilize that they play man-on-man a lot. They play man-on-man constantly. And the Raiders' defensive backs aren't fast enough to catch up with the faster wide receivers in the league. So Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, two fast wide receivers. I think if you have them going up against man-on-man, try to hit him on the outside, inside. You could hit him on, a couple deep routes, but those safeties, Casey Hayward, Nate Hobbs, who's been playing a little bit of safety, although he's corner, he can definitely play some safety there. So you do want to be careful with those traps if you are the Bengals offense. But definitely use those fast receivers that you have. Try to force them out to the outside. Try to get them with the one or two steps. Two-step routes that can let them free. And then looking at the Raiders' defensive game plan, really looking at the offense, you're gonna have a lot on your hands here. You're gonna want to stop Joe Burrow from running outside of the pocket. Joe Burrow's a somewhat mobile quarterback. He's not the best mobile quarterback, so you don't really have to worry about him running that much, but you probably should still. Just in case, because he does get out of the pocket once in a while. And then Joe Mixon, obviously, I think that's a key piece that they're going to be having to look at. Joe Mixon, the running back, he's just really good, really elusive. He can break tackles on a whim. He's able to receive out of the backfield. So definitely one of their key pieces that they're going to have to worry about if you are the Bengals. Now, looking at the wide receivers for the Raiders, obviously what I was talking about, Jamar Chase and Desmond Trufant, those two guys are going to be really, really big. Or not Desmond Trufant, sorry. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, those two are going to be really big pieces on that offense. So you're definitely going to want to minimize what they're able to do. Try to make sure that they don't get to the outside, like I was trying to say, that the Bengals should. Try to not let them get too deep. So definitely I think playing zone is going to help them here. A lot less man, and I think they'll do good. The Bengals defense, really all you have to worry about is Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller on that receiving core. Hunter Renfrow, he's fast, he's shifty, and he's able to get open, just like that. Two-step move, and he's open, so you're definitely going to want to cover him. Darren Waller, he's a good tight end. He's good at blocking, and he's definitely good at receiving, as you can see here. Now he is coming back from that knee injury, so I don't know if he is going to be good, but he should be for this game. And Darren Waller, he is something else. So you definitely want to minimize him getting the ball. Try to get that ball not in his hands as much as you can. Zay Jones, who's been up and coming star for that Raiders offense, pretty late in the season. He's been doing it. He's fast. He's definitely fast. He's a strong wide receiver. So you're definitely gonna want to have limit him. So if I'm looking at the Bengals, try to get as much pressure as possible. I think that's just your key. If you get pressure on Derek Carr, he's not gonna be able to throw. He's gonna need to force balls out, and that could cause turnovers or incompletions. You're gonna want to put pressure. Sorry, that's my phone. You're gonna want to put pressure on Josh Jacobs. Try to get him as much possible in the backfield. You're gonna want to tackle him if you are the Bengals, because he's able to break tackles and he's able to, he's able to get the yards after the carry. So, definitely want to stop him, minimize him as much as possible. And then obviously, if you're getting pressure to Derek Carr, then he's not gonna be able to throw, which gets the ball not in the Raiders wide receiver's hands. So I think the Bengals really just looking at trying to pressure Derek Carr, pressure that Raiders offense, and I think they're going to be able to win if they do that. Now, my prediction for this round, first round in the AFC Championship, or not AFC Championship, sorry, just the AFC playoffs, I'm going to have the Bengals winning this one. I think the Bengals, they just are a little too good, I think, for the Raiders. The Raiders, they just couldn't beat the Chiefs. I think the Bengals are on the same par as the Chiefs. And the Bengals have proven themselves, like, time in, time out. They've played really good teams well, and they've beaten them. And I think I can't really say the same for the Raiders. They've beaten good teams, but they've struggled to beat these good teams. They've needed multiple things to go their way in order to beat these good teams, like the Chargers. They really struggled in order to keep a lead against them. And if they get a lead against the Bengals, are they going to be able to keep it in the playoffs? Are they going to be able to, not play as conservative as they were against the Chargers? Because the Bengals offense is going to be able to go against you through the air and on the ground. So can you go up against both of those if you're the Raiders defense? And personally, I think the Raiders defense can't do that. They can't match, what the Bengals have. So I'm going to have, the Bengals winning this one. I definitely think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be within 5 points. I have the Bengals winning 27-22. Just definitely going to be hard for the Bengals to, definitely going to be hard for the Raiders to defend both areas of the ball that the Bengals have. Now going up against, now the next matchup, we have the Chiefs versus the Steelers, or Steelers at the Chiefs. This is going to be Big Ben's farewell game. It's not going to be in Pittsburgh, but definitely be a farewell game. And I don't think it's going to be a pretty one. That's what I could say. Just, when the Steelers got in here, a lot of people just didn't like how the Steelers got into the playoffs. A lot of people wanted the Raiders and Chargers to tie, because I think the Chargers are a better team than the Steelers by far, and I think the Chargers should have made it to the playoffs. So the Steelers kind of made it in here, snuck in here, especially with that Indianapolis loss to Jacksonville. And really, they just got in the playoffs. All they needed was no tie from the Chargers and Raiders. So Steelers make it to the playoffs, but they're going against the Chiefs, who have found their rhythm. If this was at the beginning of the season and we have Chiefs Steelers, I think this might be more of a competitive decision, because the Chiefs just hadn't found their groove yet, and the Steelers also were trying to find a way. So I think the Chiefs, now that they're on a roll late into the season, I think they definitely could beat the Steelers. I think it's going to be a one-score game. I think it's at least going to be close. I think the Steelers are trying to play for a Super Bowl. I think every team's trying to play for a Super Bowl. So I definitely think they're going to be close. But I don't think if they were going up against any other team, maybe they would have a chance. But the Chiefs just are too good of a team. So I have the Chiefs winning here. Just the Chiefs' defense, they found a rhythm, especially with getting Melvin Ingram from the Steelers organization, mind you that. So Melvin Ingram, he's looking for blood, definitely against the Steelers Steelers offense, because he got dropped by them, and then Steelers were like, hey, we're gonna pick him up, or the Steelers or the Chiefs, we're gonna pick him up and Steelers kind of left them out there. So definitely Melvin Ingram's going to be looking for blood here. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do, but I think I got the Chiefs here. Offense, defense just is too overpowering for the Chiefs, or for the Steelers, in my opinion. Now, next matchup that we have the the Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Now, this one, AFC East matchup, rivalry, it's definitely going to be close. This series right now in the regular season is 1-1. The Patriots beating the Bills 14-10 in that Blizzard Bowl in Buffalo, and that was a pretty big game. Patriots just were able to run all over them. But then the latest game that they played, Week 16, the Bills were just able to beat them, and they were able to limit the run. They were able to limit Mac Jones from getting that ball out, and the Patriots just kind of look out of sync right now, really late into the season. So, just not looking good for the Patriots. Now the Bills offense, I think they found a rhythm finally. It took them a while, but I think definitely that Jacksonville loss was definitely demoralizing there. But I think here they have a chance, and they found their rhythm really late into the season, and I think this is the more important time to find where you're gonna want to go as a team this late in the season. So, and the Patriots just haven't looked the same as they were at the beginning of the season. On that 7-8 game win streak, they just looked like they were on fire. But now lately, later on to the season, they just haven't looked that good, and kind of makes me question: are the Patriots going to be able to beat the Bills this game? The latest game that they played, the Bills won. And for this game, I'm going to have the Bills winning this one. I think the Bills just overall are a better team than the Patriots. I don't think necessarily they are a better team, but I'd say that right now, the Bills are a better team. If they were going to play midway through the season, I'd say the Patriots, but the Patriots, just their stamina has given way, and it definitely does not look good for them right now. So I'm going to have the Bills on this one. Bills look like they're on the same page with the receiving game, with the run game, and the Patriots just don't look good. So, like, this lane, they still won, but they just haven't looked like they're on the same page right now. So, because I know midway through the season, they're up for the number 1 seed, and then now they're at the 6th seed. So, just not the best performance by the Patriots. So, I'm definitely gonna have the Bills in this one, just because I think right now they're a better team. Okay, now going into the NFC round 1 predictions, we have the Rams, or the Arizona Cardinals at the Rams, and this one's gonna be a really close one. I believe it's also another division game that is tied 1-1. Now the Rams, they won the latest game against the Cardinals, 27-20, I believe, and then the Cardinals won first matchup pretty early on in the season, and that's during their 10-game win streak, or they're undefeated. So definitely a big game by the Cardinals that first game. But then the Rams answered back. They finally have OBJ for multiple games, try to see how he does. Von Miller for multiple games, see how he does. So overall, just really great play by the Rams and Cardinals so far this season. Now they're playing in the playoffs, and I definitely think it's gonna be close. I have it within 1 possession. Now the Rams, when they first got it, okay, maybe, people were like, okay, they look like a playoff team. Then they got OBJ and Von Miller, and then they're kind of on the slope there, and it just didn't look the best for the team there. It just didn't look like they were on the same page really, and that caused them to lose a couple games that I don't think they should have, and then so now they're there, but now looking at the Cardinals, they're doing so well, 10-0. and then an injury to Kyler Murray, injury to DeAndre Hopkins. They had them out, but they were still able to win a couple games. And after they lost to the Packers, they were still able to win a couple games. But lately, since Kyler Murray's been back, since they had that contention for the first seed, they haven't been playing that well, and that showed. Weren't able to do much. Cardinals, they lose to the Lions. They lost to they lost to the Seahawks week 18. I know that for a fact. So just the Cardinals didn't seem like they wanted it all that bad. So it seemed like they fell down all the way to the 5th seed. Now, big news for the Cardinals that they will have J.J. Watt for this game most likely, returning from IR, which is a really key piece and why they did beat the Rams last time. They were able, the Cardinals were able to get to Matthew Stafford, and that's how you're gonna beat Matthew Stafford, is if you pressure him. So, Cardinals get a key piece back on defense. But for this game, I have the Rams winning this one. The Rams just look like the better team, in my opinion. They're able to win. They're able to, they look like they're on the same page most of the time. So, or later on so far this season, they just look like they're the better team. So, I'm definitely gonna have the Rams winning this one against the Cardinals. Cardinals just haven't looked like they're on the same pace lately. So, yeah, definitely, I think the Rams will win this one. But really, it'll be a really close game. Now moving on to the next NFC playoff champion, or not playoff champion, I can't say playoff champion. Next playoff game, we have the Buccaneers, or the Eagles at the Buccaneers. Keep doing that too. The Eagles at the Buccaneers. Now the Eagles coming in at 7th seed, last place. They won a couple ones and they lost a couple ones. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here against a really good team like the Buccaneers. Now the Buccaneers, the offense is great. I think with Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Rojo. So definitely think they're good. Now, did not look good for them like a couple weeks ago. The Bucs lose Antonio Brown against the Jets. He left mid-game. Obviously, I did talk about that last episode, but it was just not the best timing for that, really. And so they cut him off the team, obviously, and now they're here. And that game against the Jets did raise up some questions, even though they did lose again, or they did lose Antonio Brown. They did almost lose against the Jets, and they had to come back to win that game. So that one is pretty interesting. They did win Week 18 in a pretty meaningless matchup against the Panthers, and Buccaneers were able to do really well in that game. So they're going up against the Eagles. The Eagles, decent team, I think. I think it's going to be somewhat close, but I think they really just need to have more weapons surrounding Jalen Hurts. I mean, they have Devontae Smith, who's starting to do well now, starting to blend in more with the offensive scheme. They got Miles Sanders back, Boston Scott, who's been pretty good, Jordan Howard, who's been pretty good. So they have some pieces. I think they just need better ones for Jalen Hurts, especially and then on the defense, I think the Eagles defense is just a dumpster fire right now. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, they're decent, but I think they're getting older. They're definitely gonna need younger players. Darius Slay he's been on the up year compared to last year, but I think after 2 years that defense is gonna kind of give out, and I think now is the time where you have trade interest from multiple teams for Fletcher Cox. You'll probably have multiple teams trying to look to trade for Brandon Graham. You might have to trade Darius Slay right now. I'm not sure, But Brandon Cox and or not Brandon, Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, I think, are gonna have to go for the after the season if they don't make it to Super Bowl. Just mainly because I think they're kind of getting on the older side, and you're gonna you could possibly get some draft capital for them to get some younger players on that defense, try to rebuild that defense, and get something on the other side from the offense, because that offense is really good, really high power, but they allow a lot of points because that defense is just not that good. Now looking at this matchup, Buccaneers Eagles, I have the Buccaneers winning this one. Obviously, I think it's not even a question. The Buccaneers just are too good of a team. They're the defending Super Bowl champions, so I think obviously they're going to be looking for another championship ring put on Tom Brady's finger, and Buccaneers, I think, are definitely going to beat the Eagles. Now looking at the next game, we have the Cowboys, or the 49ers at the Cowboys. Now the 49ers coming off a big win against the Rams to get into the playoffs. Really impressive win over there. Especially since they were down 17-0 at halftime. Just didn't look the best, like they were going to show out, but came back halftime, scored 24 unanswered points, 21 unanswered points. So really great performance by the 49ers. Now looking at the Cowboys, they come off a loss against Arizona week 17, I believe, or week 16. Week 17. And then week 18, they come off a really destroying win over the Giants, I believe. No, not the Giants, sorry. The Eagles. The Eagles also sat out their starters. Cowboys played their starters at the beginning, first half, and then they sat them out second half. So, pretty easy win for the Cowboys week 18. Now, Cowboys, they've looked good all season, and I think this definitely could be their year. Now, looking at this game, I'm going to say Dallas. They have a good offense. 49ers have a good defense. 49ers have a decent offense, and the Cowboys have a decent defense. This is going to be a tough game, I think, to predict, mainly because of how evenly matched both the offense against the defense and the defense against the offense is. It's just so hard to see what they're going to be doing. The Cowboys might have to really use the weaker secondary of the 49ers to their advantage, and the 49ers are going to have to use their young secondary, the Cowboys' young secondary against them, because they got Trayvon Diggs, who's leading the league in interceptions, but he's also leading the league in most yards allowed. And you also have a really good wide receiver who's been playing at halfback recently, Deebo Samuel, who's been really good. You have Brandon Ayuk, who's been really good. George Kittle, who's been really good coming back from injury. So the 49ers have a team. They have a team. I think they definitely could win if they put their minds to it. But I think the Cowboys are going to have to come out with a win here. The Cowboys have just, I think they're just a better team, in my opinion. They're able to beat some really big teams in the long run there. And the 49ers, they're a really physical team, but the Cowboys are a really physical team, and I think it's going to be hard for the 49ers to really go up against this high-powered Dallas offense. So I have I have the Cowboys in this one, but I definitely think it's going to be a close one with the 49ers. Now going into the semifinals, coming off the wild card, the divisional matchup, sorry. I was trying to find the name for it. The divisional matchups for the AFC round. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans now. The Tennessee Titans, they've had to go through some stuff. They've lost Derrick Henry midway through the season due to ACL injury. Did not look good. But they came back. They found a way to win some games and keep that first seed. And they were able to rest Derrick Henry for the last game of the season against Houston. And then the Titans also Titans also needed pretty big, um, um, pretty big, chance of getting that first seed to be able to rest Derrick Henry, and they were able to. So, good sign, good news that Derrick Henry's back and it looks like he's gonna be able to play against the Bengals. Hypothetically, I think. My prediction, I think the Bengals are going to win. So, Derrick Henry is going to go up against the Bengals. And that Bengals defense is really high-powered. Like I said earlier, against the Raiders. I think that defense is going to be a really big, tough challenge for the Titans. And, I think Derrick Henry is going to be a big challenge for that Bengals defense because they haven't seen anything like Derrick Henry. And a lot of teams in the playoffs haven't. But looking at this matchup is going to be tough. I think it's going to be back and forth, defensive line versus offensive line. It's going to be really tough. Each team is going to have to fight to win. But for this game, I think I have a shocker here. I have the Bengals moving on to the divisional championship, the AFC championship game, because I think the Bengals, they have a team to win now. I think they have a really big chance to win here. And that Titans defense, they looked really good against the Rams, but then they kind of faltered pretty late in the season. So I think the Bengals have a really big chance to exploit that Titans weak, defense, and they're going to be able to attack it with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Ozuma. So definitely going to be tough for the Titans to defend them, and I think that Bengals offense is definitely going to help them win in this game. Now moving on to another matchup in the divisional round, we have the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, two really big teams who, if they played in the first part of the season, I think it would have been Bills unanimously. But now later here, the Bills kind of a little rocky after that Jacksonville loss, and then they kind of moved on from that kind of in the gray space, I say, and then the Chiefs finding their role, but. The Bills, I think they found their rhythm as a team here, and I think they're going to be able to go up against the Chiefs pretty well. And the Chiefs, they were playing their starters last week. They were playing Patrick Mahomes, they were playing Tyreek Hill. Now Tyreek Hill did look like he had an injury last game against the Broncos, which didn't look that good. He's kind of limping. He insists that he played, but it just didn't really look good for him, and I don't know if he's going to be playing in this one. I'm sure he's probably going to play against the Steelers with some rest, who knows, but that's definitely an injury to keep a watch on. And then, they almost lost to the Broncos. The Broncos had a 7-point lead, or 4-point lead, 4-point lead going into halftime, and the Chiefs only won by 4 points, 28-24, against not that good of a Broncos team. So I think the Chiefs, if the Bills are able to watch some tape, see what they did, what the Broncos have done to the Chiefs, I think if they use that, if they're able to use Javonte Williams well, Melvin Ingram, the Broncos used Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon really good against the Chiefs. So I think the Bills, they're going to really have to run all over that Chiefs defense, which they had Devin Singletary for, who's been a really good running back for them. So in this one, I think I have another upset, and I'm going to have the Bills winning this one. The Bills just, they've been constantly doing good, so I think the Bills have a really big chance at winning against the Chiefs. I think if they're able to run that ball, I think they're definitely going to be able to beat the Chiefs. Now looking at the next matchup, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers. Now this one I think is going to be really close. The Packers beat the Rams earlier this season, 36-28, I believe. And that one kind of came in garbage time for the Rams, but again, I think the Rams, they played against the Packers when they really were trying to find a rhythm. They hadn't. And I think now the Rams have a rhythm. Now as for the Packers, just didn't look that good in the Lions game. Lions are up 17-10 at half, and they played their starters. So, I mean, then again, maybe they weren't really trying as hard, but the Packers just still, against the Lions, they just didn't look that good. They were lucky enough to not lose the first seed after that loss, but definitely losing to the Lions kind of hurts, even though they didn't really play that hard, I think, against them. And then the Rams, coming off of a big loss, again, to the 49ers, who kind of were just physical against them, and they were able to use, use the ball well against the Rams, and the Rams really couldn't go do anything about it. So I think if they learn from this game, try and see how they can be physical in this one. I don't think the Packers are really a physical team like the 49ers are on offense, so I think the Rams could really use that, try to learn what they can do better against what they didn't do against the 49ers. The Packers, now the Packers, they do have Aaron Jones out, or not out. I don't think he'll be out, but he does have an injury, which, again, keep an eye on that one. That could play a factor in how much they're going to play in for this one. He's a really physical running back, but they do have A.J. Dillon, who's also another physical running back who can do the job well. So I think this one's going to be a close one, but I think I'm going to have 3 straight upsets for this one, and I'm going to have the Rams winning this one. I think the Rams definitely are going to be able to, I think they're going to be able to beat the Packers, mainly just because of how well they've done so far, getting on the same page and everything like that. And OBJ has been doing well. Von Miller's been doing well. I think if they can just overcome being, outsized and out-battled, and physically, they just haven't been doing that good. So I think if they can, go over that hump of being a more physical team, definitely I think they can beat the Packers. Now we're going up in this next divisional matchup. We have the Cowboys at the Buccaneers. Now, the Cowboys, again, coming off of a pretty good last 3 weeks of the season, and then they beat the 49ers, who's a really good team, in this playoff prediction. And the Buccaneers coming off of a pretty big win against the Eagles in the playoffs. So we'll have to see what happens here. This game's going to be really close, I think. But I have the Cowboys winning this one. I believe, last year or this year? For some reason I can't remember. I think this year the Buccaneers played against the Cowboys. I want to say at the very beginning of the season. I want to say they played against the Buccaneers, and they lost by 2. I think that was a really good game, and I think that's going to be a precursor to what we see here. I think Dak Prescott played really good in that game. Ezekiel Elliott did really good in that game. That defense did really good in the game. I think now they're getting into a rhythm here where they could pressure Tom Brady to force those balls out, and they could have Trayvon Diggs get a lot of interceptions in this game. So I think they have a high-powered offense. Buccaneers kind of look like they're on a slump, since they did need to kind of come back against the Jets out of all teams. So, I don't really know. I think this game could definitely go either way, but I do have the Cowboys winning this one. I think all 4 games upsets, but as of right now, I think each team could win. Any team could win right now. These playoffs are really competitive. I think any team could win if you just meet the team on a bad day. So I got the Cowboys winning this one. I think the first game of the season, the Cowboys are just kind of getting used to having Dak Prescott back in, and trying to get the offense ready to go. Buccaneers coming off of a Super Bowl win, and that game was really close. I believe they need Nick Folk to kick that game winner. So I think that was gonna be really close. So I got the Cowboys winning this one. Definitely going to be a close game, but Cowboys, I think, are just going to be able to air out the ball against the Buccaneers. Now, going into the AFC Championship game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be a crazy game, I think. Two teams that, the Bills, everybody thought, they're definitely going to make the playoffs. Bengals, nobody saw making the playoffs. The Bills last year came so close to making it to the Super Bowl. They lost against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, obviously. And then the Bengals, coming off of a really bad season, now they're in the playoffs. Who knows what's going to happen. But the Bills, they're doing good, extremely good. They're finding their rhythm. The Bengals just have been good all season. So this matchup is going to be definitely tough for me to find out who wins this one. But I have the Bills making to the Super Bowl. So I know all the Bills fans listening are rejoicing because I know their team has not made it in a while. They're definitely in a drought. And last 2 seasons they made it into the playoffs. They gotten so close, and then they just lose those close ones against the Chiefs, against the Titans. So I think now is their year. If the Bengals are able to clear out the Titans and they're able to beat the Chiefs, definitely. I think if they're able to beat the Chiefs in that divisional round, like I think they are, I think that one's gonna be a really close matchup because the Bills have just been really good. So I think if they're able to beat the Chiefs, they're able to clear out the Chiefs, they can beat anybody. So the Bengals, I think they're a good team. They're definitely a good team, but they're just a little too unexperienced, I think, at this point in the season. And I think in this game is where it's going to show. It's going to show, Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, he's going to go up against one of a really good team on a really big stage. And are they going to be able to handle it? And in my opinion, I don't think they are. They're still a really young team. And I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to do it. So, yep, I got the Bills winning this one, making it to the Super Bowl. Now, looking at the NFC Championship game, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this one, definitely going to be a close one, I think, in my opinion. But the Rams, if they're able to beat the Packers, they should do pretty good. But the Cowboys, I think that high-powered offense is definitely going to power them through this entire season. And I think it's going to power them into this game. I think the Cowboys are going to make it to the Super Bowl finally in a really long time. The Cowboys are going to make it to the Super Bowl. Going up against the Rams, I think the Rams' defense at this point is going to be fatigued, and they're just not going to be able to go up against that high-powered of an offense that can go deep, that can run it on you. And the Rams, they're bringing back Eric Weddle from retirement. I don't really know how well that's going to go, but I think the Rams I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off against the Cowboys, even though I think they're going to be able to pull it off against the Packers. I think the Cowboys, they have a game plan. If they beat the Buccaneers, I think they're definitely going to be able to beat the Rams and to make it the Super Bowl. Now, it is time for the Super Bowl. My prediction Super Bowl here: the Buffalo Bills versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this has been historic, mainly because this Super Bowl has been played twice. I think twice or three times. I don't really know how many times, but I know the Cowboys won both of them against the Bills, and they're both really close. And this is definitely a historic rivalry in Super Bowl history. So this is going to be really big historically. And right now, Cowboys, high-powered offense, Bills, high-powered offense. Both defenses kind of in the gray area, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. But I think it's going to be a really close one. And the winner of the Super Bowl, in my opinion, drum roll please, it's going to be the Cowboys. Okay, I think it's going to be the Cowboys. We're going to have to witness a year long of toxic Cowboys fans saying that they're the best team in the league after like 20 years saying that they're the best team in the league. But I think they're finally gonna have it. They're gonna do it. I think they're gonna do it this year. They have Trayvon Diggs, really good young cornerback, who's leading the league in interceptions. I mean, he's leading the league in yards allowed, but he's leading the league in interceptions. So, Micah Parsons, definitely going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year this year. He's just, he's playing really good. So, the offense, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and Dak Prescott, I think they're going to be really good. So, I think the offense and defense are just so well-rounded compared to the Bills, who Tre'Davious White hasn't been the best. Jordan Poyer hasn't been the best. Micah Hyde hasn't done the best. The Bills' offense, they don't really have a run game. I think that's going to flaw them. Their receiving core is kind of a little bit on the weaker side. Really, all they have besides Stephon Diggs is Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders, who, hasn't looked that good. So, I think I have the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys think. It's definitely a long episode, almost an hour. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know what you think on Instagram, because I'm definitely going to have those polls up there to see what you guys think is going to win the playoffs. But yeah, definitely going to be a good end to the season, I think, this year. Well, that'll be it for today's episode. Thank you for joining me this season through all the predictions. And thank you for listening all the way through. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, thank you. It's been a great NFL season so far. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.